season 4, episode 4. Everyone's talking about it. This is some people's favorite episode of the entire show. I've heard a lot of high criticism for this or high praise for this episode. What was your opinion on this episode of The Boys?
Peak boys. Peak
Yeah?
boys. Absolutely. Just all of it was absolutely perfect. There wasn't a bit of it that I was against or sitting there thinking, oh, this is just dragging on, or like nothing. I was here for all of it, and I cannot wait for Thursday.
Yeah, I'm loving this season a lot, man. I'm really having a good time with this season, and I feel like, yeah, let's just start with Homelander, because I feel like they kind of got to start with him in terms of it, because I feel like that's the big stuff of this episode. Like, going into this episode, Eric Kripke is like, this man needs an Emmy. We've heard a lot of people are like, he steals the show. This is one of his best episodes, and it was a crazy one for sure. We see Homelander kind of go back to his roots a little bit, and at first, like, in my mind, I was like, oh, he's going back to his childhood home, and then we go back here, it's like, oh yeah, that was a lie. He didn't have a childhood home. He was born in a lab. He was born by scientists, and I'll say I was kind of shocked that Homelander didn't do this sooner. Like, I'm shocked that this is his first time coming back here after all these years. I feel like he would have done that years and years ago. But what was your kind of opinion on, like, the Homelander aspect of this episode and what his journey throughout all this?
He's one of the reasons why it was so good. Like one of the main reasons, honestly. Like, everybody brought their A game. But Eric Kripke is right. Give the man an Emmy, honestly, because yes, he can do like psychotic. Yes, he can do bullying. Yes, he can do like megalomaniac. He can do like, I'm just not even hearing you and it's my reality kind of stuff. Like, he can do all of it. And we got like basically all of that in one episode. Like, all of the stuff that we have got where he's like, all the stuff in Vought Tower or on the plane or out in, I think it was Afghanistan, like all of the places that we've seen this guy be a bad guy, like, we saw all of it just on his face.
Yeah.
In that small room. And it was such a performance. Honestly, it was so good. Like all of the Homelanders that we saw in that goddamn mirror just kept like just shifting in. Like, he was like Willem goddamn Dafoe. And then like each one just kept like fighting for control. And it's just, oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fascinating to see the like creation of the beast. It's like, we've been dealing with Frankenstein all these years, but now, or I guess we've been working with Frankenstein's monster all these years, and now we're seeing Frankenstein being like, oh, this is where you came to be. And there's such an interesting moment at the end of the episode where they go like you could have left at any time. No one here had the capabilities to stop you. We trained you. We molded you like butter. Like, you had a need for approval. And like, it's like, yeah, that's always kind of been his thing. He always just wanted people to like you. And he's still in that trap to this day. He could right now destroy the earth. He could laser beam every person on earth and no one can stop him. Right? That's the world that they've set up. But he won't, because then who will praise him? Who will give him the approval? And that's such a fascinating concept. Like, I want to see Homelander like go to therapy. Like, that'd be a fun episode. Just to be like, let's analyze your issues. Let's
he would need a room. He would need a room full of them, just because so many of them will be lasered for like just giving him an opinion that he didn't like. Next.
Yeah. Next one.
It goes so badly.
It's one of those things where I'm like, clearly you're not justified for murdering an entire staff of people, and I feel like most of those people are like, it's interesting because I feel like most of those people are probably just doing a job. They probably cannot Can they leave? Can they apparently? Could they be like, this is fucked up, I'm leaving, or would they not be able to do that? Right? Is there like a thing where they, like who? Is there a responsibility for those people to be like, hey, this isn't right? Like, do they have that ability to be like, hey, this isn't cool, man, we should maybe stop experimenting on kids or whatever?
The question is, are like Vort's NDAs so airtight that anybody that quits that lab
is dead?
They don't send Black Noir over at nighttime, So like obviously you don't want to die, right? But then I'm still not going to be taught. I'm still not going to be pressing the button and hurting the youngins, right?
Sure.
So I guess take me out back. I don't know. Like,
yeah, and like even Ashley, I think, is in that spot. She clearly wants to leave, but like, and we've been saying for years, like, Ashley, just quit. But then it's like, but can she? Like, can she physically leave? Like, she has so much information, and yes, there's probably like NDAs, but like, would you chance her leaving and going to Disney and then telling any sort of person this information? You know what I mean? Like what would happen if she right now was like, I quit or whatever? So I don't know.
Plus, like, at what point, like, does you going to work with a competitor count as like insider trading and stuff? like getting like insider knowledge and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's layers to this. I feel bad for Ashley, and I'm wondering how much of her real hair is under that now. Because of her last season. Yeah. Feel really bad for us. It's like, oh, you poor girl. That's where you have control. So yeah, it's crazy, dude. Oh my god. The fact that, like you said, it's still ingrained in him, and the fact that, like, this is the thing, right? So she said that as like, I feel like I'm gonna like not be here in a minute, so I'm just gonna say it. So it was like, no matter what you do, we still have this trump card, right? So middle finger, right? And then the fact that he left her in that room and didn't unalive her is just like, oh wow. You literally just hit that ball back over the court, and now it's her move. Like, dude.
Yeah, I think his punishments in this episode were one of the more crazy things the show has done. Like I've had some friends being like, I don't know, the show's had some pretty crazy moments, and they have had fairly crazy moments, or I guess I don't know what the word is, awkward, or I guess uncomfortable to watch moments. I think in this episode, I would say there's several like scenes in this episode where like I'm uncomfortable watching the scene.
It was
and
grisly.
One of those is the wanking scene, if you will, which is just like because like I've had the like comparisons to like the Blow A Train scene to this here, like which is the crazier scene. I'm like, I think this one, because he actually did this one, like he actually had to do this thing, and it's like we're in like the perspective of the other coworkers that just been like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, right. The thing is like you're dealing with Homelander, so you kind of feel like, well, I'm gonna get lasered anyway, right? So I'd just be like, can I not? And can we just get it over
anyway.
with? Yeah, right.
I just be like, you know what, man, fuck off.
Like, yeah. If anything, I would have charged at him, because I know I'm going out. This is the way I can go out.
Heroic. Badass.
Yeah.
And and actually he might respect you for that. Like he might be like, oh, okay. Like there's last season with Huey, when Huey stands up to him, he's like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. It's cool. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that might be your best option with someone like Homelander. But no, there's that scene. There's obviously the like the heater, the like oven scene, which it's so
Frank,
it's like, oh my god. But also
sorry,
Go ahead. No,
Do you
go.
know what's crazy about that scene, right? Is he did it to prove the point of, oh, I was in there with, incredible heat with nothing scorching away, and you were there just throwing this, and I was watching you. So now you're going to watch me from inside the oven. Before he even threw it, the man's eyes burst. So he wasn't watching anything, So like, if anything, he just watched you out from inside there. So yeah, you lost a little bit of your point being a maniac.
No, it's crazy, and again, Anthony does a great job in that scene. He has this little like Joker moment where he just kind of he's lost his mind a little bit, and I'll be honest though, like I was a little underwhelmed, just a little bit, just because I heard like the biggest like things ever where like this is the greatest one within the whole show, this is the best he's ever acted, he deserves an Emmy, all these amazing things, and like I don't know, I kind of don't think it's that much more impressive than what he does every other week though. Like just now people are like, oh, he's one of the greatest comic book villains of all time, and I'm like, I think he kind of always has been. Like I feel like he consistently gives this level of performance every week, and I feel like people are just saying that now because it's like, oh, he's like the Joker, he's going insane, but like he gives that performance, he's given that every single episode of the show. If he deserves it now, I think he always has. Like I think he's always given us that level of everything. Even the last episode, like him in the mirror, I think that's just as good, if not better, than this scene here. So
okay,
I think it's amazing. I think he does a great job. If he was nominated for an Emmy, I'd be like, sure, yeah, give it to him. He's consistently gave great content. Yeah, that'd be amazing. They don't think they would because superhero shows, they don't like giving that stuff to that kind of stuff, but it'd be cool if they could.
Especially because either the picture that they would like most have to use for reference would either be him covered in blood or like sniffing breast milk. So
yeah. What was your opinion? I think this was like the second biggest story of the episode was the Starlight stuff, and I guess there's actually a bunch of different storylines surrounding that. You have like the Starlight, you have the Firecracker, you have the Butcher, and like there's a bunch of kind of things colliding here. But what's your overall thoughts on this part of it?
So I'm not entirely sure what the Starlight Center does, right? I think it might have something to do with at-risk use, but there's also the fact that it might house addicts meetings, right? So I don't know. The fact that like Firecracker sat there going, they've got children in the basement, right? And then they're setting up outside, and then the first thing that comes out of Starlight and Mother's Milk mouths is, right, how do we get the kids out of here? It's just like, God damn it. Like, that did not need to be in there. That just shows that they're like, no, don't put that bit in there. But yeah, no, it was really, really good. And honestly, when Firecracker got set up by Sage, and oh my God, how much did I want to punch Firecracker in the face when she sat there talking to Sage? That was like, honestly, like Sage could have just smacked the shit out of her, so she should have done. But she went like a whole load big step better and got Starlight to do it, right? So then when she's handing her that stuff and she's like, this is your like ace in the hole, I genuinely thought that she was going to have security footage of her first day, right? With the deep moment in the room where the 7 is, where she gets assaulted, and then try and find a spin on that. But then that might also put the 7 in a bad light. So I didn't really like fully think it through. So then the fact that she came out with that bombshell which was completely privileged, private information that nobody should be privy to other than their doctors that are involved, and Huey and Starlight, blanking on name at the moment.
Kamiko?
No, Starlight's other name,
Annie, right?
Annie, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Well, so like that's their business, nobody else's, So the fact that like she broadcast that everywhere, and it's just like, oh, it's savage.
What's so frustrating is that Starlight would 100% have the upper hand if she didn't go attack. They would have everything at the moment. Because not only did she out herself as a pedo, which is crazy that they're like, praise the Lord! That. And it's just like, no, let's take a moment. They're like, thank God. They're like, no, that's not how that works. You don't just say a magic word and it goes away.
No. Especially when your whole thing is they're keeping kids in the basement and your whole thing is getting in a Bible camp.
No, it was like they would have everything. Like, not only did she out herself as that, not only did she admit to stealing someone's medical records and files. That's illegal. That's gonna land you in jail. But you have all this stuff where you should be able to slaughter them, but that's not what the headlines are going to be. The headlines are now, oh, Starlight has hit an innocent person, right? Like, she attacked blank, right? It kind of like paralleled, and I don't know if this was their point. It kind of reminded me of like the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, where like I feel like under different circumstances it would have been like, oh, Chris Rock said this terrible, this weird thing. I'm not going to get my opinion on that whole situation. I don't want to get into that. But the headline isn't that he said that thing. It's like, no, Will Smith slapped him across the face at this public event. Like, that's kind of like that's what all the articles are saying. So, and now it's just bad press on her. Like, now she had a deal with Bobby from Supernatural. Whatever his name.
Bobby Singer.
Yes. Yeah, Bobby Singer. They had that deal, and now that's kind of gone down the drain. And I mean, I'll say I think this is the most I've enjoyed Starlight as a character, because I think because I think this is just giving her a different perspective. Like, I think she was always the good one, right? Out of all the characters, like, oh yeah, that's the one that's doing the right thing and doing the she's on the straight and narrow. And I think that's great. I think we needed a character like her, but also I think in doing so, she often got undermined by all the bad characters, like she's always undermined by Butcher and like Mother's Milk and all these other characters that are slightly more interesting. And now I think you're putting her on a path where like, oh, she's maybe not always the best character. She's now making her own mistakes. She has a path that she's trying to redeem her from, and I think that makes her a more interesting character. I think she's been one of my favorites this season.
Yeah. That being said, like, how satisfying was it when Firecracker was there? Like,
amazing.
Well, bloodied up and shit. You just like, yeah, you deserve it. You goddamn deserve it.
I feel like everyone else would do that exact same thing. I feel. Like,
yeah.
I feel like you can spin it. Like, I feel like you can spin the story in your favor. After being like, hey, this is something very personal that happened to me. I went through trauma through this thing, and they exposed this thing, and you could say it's like self-defense. Like, I feel like you could spin this line that still makes Starlight look like the hero. But I don't know. I'll be curious to see kind of what direction they go, because it's not looking too good for her at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just her being like a racist pedo should be enough of a spin. I mean,
it should.
And justification,
Yeah.
Like, God damn.
Admitting it on live TV is crazy to me. That's so crazy.
I know.
Too bad for the company, because they spent $10,000 on that photo for nothing. I feel like, right? Like, give me $10,000 and I'll have the perfect whatever. Oh my gosh. Speaking of Butcher, it seems like he has the little black mold in his head is maybe a bit more than just a cancer. It seems like it's something a little bit more.
Right. So I thought that was just like maybe I don't know, like a byproduct of the V. I didn't really think about it in the same way that everybody else has been, in that it might be
sure,
like their version of like
Venom.
Venom or whatever. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. In my head, I was kind of like, maybe he's just taken before. This is before the reveal that he took some of Frenchie's stash. I was kind of like, maybe he's taken enough of it that it might just alter his DNA anyway, and he might just be a soup at this point. Because when Ezekiel had him, I just kept expecting laser eyes to come out and for him to just chop those arms off.
Yeah,
It didn't happen. So maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it hasn't settled on what his power is. Maybe he has got a Venom thing. It would be weird that it just keeps traveling around his body.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then, like, can it leave him? What happens if it leaves him? Is that what's killing him? If it leaves him, does he stop dying? Is that the cloud around his brain? Are they connected? You know, like, there's so many questions.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated with it. Like, I didn't pick up on like the Venom thing at first. I didn't understand what happened at first when he blacked out and everyone was there. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? And it was a lot of people pointing out like maybe it's like a symbiote thing, and it would make sense. Like if Butcher dies, he dies, right? It's like a parasite that's just like inching off of all of his life force. And maybe we come to a point where it's like, I can use this newfound power to take down Homelander, or I can take it out and live. Like, I wonder if that's going to be an ultimatum at the end of the season or whatever. And I'm curious to see what direction it goes in, because obviously, unless these next 2 seasons take place within 2 seasons, right? Like the next 6 months is like 2 seasons, or we gotta fix that mold in his head because we got one more of these coming out.
Yeah, I thought there was a chance that either it was like Moon Knight and he kind of just blacked out and then went nuts, or like Victoria Newman or Cindy was nearby, and one of them just like exploded the guy, you know, and that he just passed out, you know, and was just very lucky. I don't know. I'm so excited. They need to answer that fast because they haven't got a bunch of episodes this season. It's like what, 8, 10?
Yeah, 8. We're halfway through. We're at the halfway point.
They need to answer it ASAP.
And next week's is our Gen V episode, right? We got our Gen V crew back, which I'm
about so time.
I'm so excited.
I cannot wait.
I mean, we also got that Gen V like cameo in this episode as well, on the news station, just like the like conspiracy channel is just like, where did it go? I thought that was really funny.
The Guardian took a Dolkin. Oh my goodness! Like the poor picture they like. Marie cannot catch a break. Like the picture they decided to choose, honestly, shocking. Like they just know how to spin everything to their advantage.
Yeah. Thoughts on? I guess we talked about it a little bit, but thoughts on the Sage stuff of the episode, because that was the other part of the episode that I couldn't. I had to skip a couple seconds of it because I could not watch the scene at the end when they're putting it in her eye. I was like, I can't do it. I cannot watch this.
I was waiting for that to be like a whole MacGuffin, you know, and it just turns out to just be like the trippiest goddamn thing ever. And it's like, no way, man. No way. But then if you think about it, it's like, what? That is kind of what you would have to want to do, you know? Like, everybody has their vices, and yours is literally making yourself stupider. like just taking away all your intelligence.
Yeah, I will admit when I'm wrong, because I said last week, I was like, no, I don't think that's it. I think she just is at like a long con with him. Like, I thought it was like, oh, all to mess with his head or whatever. Turns out, no, she just wanted to fuck him. She was dumb and she wanted to fuck him in that moment. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good for you, because I was real confused when she's like, I find you repulsive. I was like, no, I don't like the guy bangs octopuses, right?
Oh, I hate that guy so much. Yeah.
But even then, like he gets kicked so much when he's down, like, and he's always at rock bottom, and he just keeps getting kicked into rock bottom. You just keep wanting some kind of a break for the man,
Yeah. It's also funny, like you literally had to make her stupid to even come close to being on the level. Like that's the only way you could even come close is she has to become stupid, and then she's still the superior person in this scenario. I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's really funny. I wonder how far that's going to go, where that's going to go, or it doesn't go anywhere. I don't know. We have the Huey stuff. I feel like just kind of speedrunning some of these other storylines. Huey stuff. I said last week I wasn't huge on the Huey stuff, but it's fine. It's whatever.
His mum put that in, right? Like everybody's looking around like a nurse did it. She did it.
Yeah. No, I think she swiped it. I think she might be a soup actually. I'm wondering if like maybe she could like I don't know like grabbed it out of her pocket with her mind or whatever. Maybe she can see through things. She's like solid in his pocket. Like, oh, I'll take that. I don't know. But that's a suit now. I guess we'll see where that storyline leads. Any theories on that? I kind of don't care a lot about that storyline at the moment. I'm just kind of like going through it.
I kind of want one of them to be a teleporter since he is. If they're both superpowered at this point, I want one of them to be a teleporter.
Sure.
Like so, there's some kind of like hereditary thing to it, So like if A-Train had a kid, like they'd all be super fast little dudes.
Sure. Yeah. A-Train's trying to help out. He helped Huey, which has been another one of my favorite parts. Like I've enjoyed him. I feel like they've dabbled with that in the past, like him trying to do better. But this season it feels like, oh, we're turning A-Train, which I think is going to end in his death. I do not think A-Train's making it out of the season alive. I think.
That's the thing. Like, if you start trying to draw a line, like nobody, like even some of them in the boys, nobody is redeemable.
No.
Absolutely. So trying to turn somebody, what does that even look like?
No, I think he has to sacrifice himself or try to do the best thing, and I think Homelander kills him this season, which I think would be a really fun fight. Like I want to see A-Train full confidence fight Homelander because I don't think he'll win, but I think he could do better than people would give him credit for. Like he's a speedster. Like I think he could do damage if he wanted to, especially if there's a plan behind it. If we get the boys' planning behind it plus super speed, I think we could have a chance against Homelander. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I watched. There was a short somebody put up like yesterday, the day before, where it showed the box that the boys used to put the translucent his head in it. I think it is because he can't see through zinc.
Yeah.
And then in episode 3, when Huey's running through the air conditioning, he couldn't be seen because it's made out of zinc.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they really are like holding on to like everything and like making it make sense and stuff. So like even like something like that could be used where they know his weaknesses,
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. I like that a lot. I guess we got the Frenchie stuff, the Frenchie and his boyfriend storyline. That kind of just, I think it's like continuing on that trend. Like that's a very heartbreaking scene. But I mean, are you liking that storyline? Because like I wouldn't say I'm like super into it, but I also see what they're doing. I see kind of the direction they're going with it, and I have no issue with it. I just kind of also just there for me. Like I'm not like incredibly into it.
Yeah. I got to say, I was more into it. Like now that the reveals happened, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like if that happened, then yeah. Because
I could also. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to say that once it got to the strangling bit, as much as I'm like, I get it, like that's where we're at. That's where we're like, okay, now we just cannot hang out anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, he's another character. Like I'll place my predictions now. I think A Train and Frenchie died this season. I think they both bite the bullet. Like it feels like that. I don't know. It feels like Frenchie's thing could be like so much filled with guilt that he pushes himself to the edge and maybe maybe sacrifices himself, or that leads to his, maybe his head's not in the game as much as it would have been. So I don't know. I could see both A Train and him not making it. But we'll see.
Do you think if Frenchie dies, the Kamiko will leave to be with like her sister or whoever that is, from the Rising Sun?
Yeah.
Or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I don't know where we're taking. Like that's another storyline where I'm kind of like, all right, they're doing something there. Like I think Huey, Frenchie, and Kamiko are the three. I'm like, all right, that they're doing something there, and I bet it'll lead somewhere. Like I'm kind of whatever at the moment. But I'm hoping for a moment where it all kind of comes for. Like I think if I was to give a criticism, and this is something I didn't really pinpoint. Like this is something me and my friend were talking about that I didn't really see myself, and then when they were saying it, I went, okay, I can understand this. I think this is the storyline. I think this is the season that feels the most disconnected. Like it feels like we have this story. Like we obviously have the main stuff with like Homelander and Butcher, but it feels like we have an A, B, C, D, C, storyline, and they don't all connect to one each other. And I think where in past season they would connect much better, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I am still overall enjoying the other arcs. It just I feel like it doesn't feel as coherent as it maybe would in past seasons.
Yeah, they've given like more freedom to each person that needs it. And I like that. Because most of the time when there was a side plot, it was somebody like, oh, I got to lie and be over here, then I'm going to go over here. Yeah. Something goes wrong, and then I come back and tell everybody, or somebody comes and saves me, and then I tell the group what happened, kind of thing, or it comes back a few things later. Yeah, so I'm enjoying what they're doing, honestly. Yep. I do wonder about Kamiko, though, right? And how much you can, like, have her for season. Like, do you keep her around? Because at this point, she's just assumed muscle. You know what I mean? So you kind of, like, either take her out permanently, or, like, each fight, you've either got to take her out really quickly, or she's the one winning the fight, basically. She's gonna be like the last one standing, kind of thing, So like, can you lose the fear of like, oh, something can happen? You know what I mean? Because she's always the safety net.
Yeah, it feels like they're doing that more this season than they would have in past. Like, I don't remember a lot of the earlier stuff, so maybe that's just on me. But, like, it feels like this season they're doing a lot more. Oh, her arm's cut off. Oh, she fell out a window. Oh, her skull was cracked. They've done that at least 3 times so far. And each time was like, each time you feel the stakes a little less and less. Like, the first time when her arm gets cut off, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's a little like Deadpool arm. Okay, whatever. And yeah, I think you're right. Each time the stakes get a little less and less. So it'll be interesting. Again, I don't know where that storyline's going.
Plus for the group as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the people they fight are soups, and it could just take one wrong punch, like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right?
Sure.
But again, for the most part, if she's there, like the stakes for everybody else, I feel like are lowered as well, consistently. And how far can you take that with season 5, where like by the end of season 5 by the end of season 4 I'm not really worried about everybody else, because I know season 5 is going to be there, and Kamiko's there. Kamiko's in the room, is going to be fine, like I'm less worried. So they're going to need to like deal with that or shock me.
Take her down a peg a little bit. Yeah. Like her lose a limb or whatever somehow, however that may be. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, maybe we do something with the virus, right? You can't kill her physically. Maybe we kill her, or we don't. I don't want them to kill her off. I can't.
No, that. I love having her there. But
maybe you give us a scare with the virus. We're like, oh my gosh, she could actually. This is the way we kill her. Is not physically, but chemically, I guess. So
yeah. Or just again, just send her off with like the family, or because this is what she said, right? Wait, that's Star Wars. Yeah, I'm thinking of what Jackie said, where she said, "We're not what we've lost. You what you survived, and you survived a lot." And the same could be applied to her. She has lost a tremendous amount, including several limbs that have grown back, but she has survived a tremendous amount, and she could use that in like a council worker's kind of perspective, or somebody else's, and help people in her position. Especially like if she was, like Black Panther was, right, or like out in the forest, just helping people that are being like smuggled and trafficked and stuff, like could do that,
I don't
loads
disagree.
of things.
Yeah. I'm again, we're at the halfway point. I'm curious to see where we kind of take story, where we take some of these characters, because I think they've done a lot within this short amount of time so far. I'm really excited for our Gen V crew to pop back in, and man, probably my most anticipated episode of the season, because I love Gen V so much. I'm curious. They're with the 7, which makes me sad because I want them to be with the boys, but this is our villain group. This is kind of the team that turned at the end of last season, so I guess that makes sense that they would be with the 7. Also, though, sorry, go ahead.
It's Sam and what is it? Claire. I keep calling her Claire. Kate. Damn it! Kate. Every week, I keep doing it. It's not Claire. I know it's not Claire. It's Kate. Right? Yeah. Thank you. I like Kate. She's great. She's awesome.
I mean, also, I don't think they'll do this, but like, there is one more spot at the 7. Like, how crazy would it be if we got like Kate in there or something? I doubt I would let that, but.
Either that mask is coming off of Black Noir and it is Sam, or like it has to be somebody. Like, I need to know who that person is under that mask. Do you know what I mean? I need to know so bad. I'd love Sam to just put a fist through him and see what their power is.
Oh, I mean, we said this in our Gen V thing. I think Kate could easily take down Homelander. She could take down the 7 by herself. I feel like she's so, unless Homelander's somehow immune. Like, there's no reason why she couldn't.
Oh no.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, no.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because he told her not to touch him, and she was like, okay. And like, so yeah, he knows what's up. He knows. He got briefed. Do not let her touch you. And I gotta say, having Kate and Sister Sage together. Dangerous combination. Dangerous.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The 7's never been more powerful. I guess Vought has never been more powerful, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh.